Hey everybody, Arthur here with another unboxing video. Today we have Action Force Series 3 Eclipse. Finally we got the ladies in hand and I am super stoked to open these and review them. And as you can see, they come in the typical Action Force style box, but the insert is totally different. Not a fan, but we'll get into that in a little bit. But we also have the awesome artwork on the side. Eclipse is #1 out of the series. And on the back, we got a picture of all the ladies looking awesome. And then, of course, you're going to have that awesome file card. So feel free to pause if you want to read it. But let's go ahead and get Eclipse out of the box. Straight out of the package, Eclipse comes with a pair of trigger finger hands. We also get a pair of fist hands. Eclipse also comes with a pair of gripping hands. And finally, we get those C-cupping support hands or, gift-giving hands. Eclipse comes with a bandana with some really cool paintwork done to it. I love the turquoise. I like the texture throughout. So really cool pattern. The little frillies on the bottom are turquoise. The pattern pretty much is almost all the way around the actual bandana. It just sort of stops right on the back. Speaking of the bandana, we get a alternate head with that whole fabric wrapped up around her face and on top of her head. The same pattern going around, the paintwork, the texture. This is a awesome looking head sculpt. The paint for the eyes, the eyebrows look really good. And this is a very, very phenomenal, it's awesome head sculpt. With the whole Series 3 Action Force figures, these are going to be the best looking head sculpts you'll see from the actual Action Force line. They are spectacular and they just look so awesome. I love this head sculpt. It is a very badass, ready for combat type of head sculpt. Eclipse comes with a nice looking knife. We've seen it before and it's done really well. The blade is painted silver and it's black plastic, so the handle's black, rivets are black, but a nice looking knife. Continuing to be uniform with the Action Force team, we actually have MX9 with the sculpted in stippling like we've seen before. Just a really nicely sculpted pistol, and we got the muzzle flash hole. Eclipse's primary weapon is this marksman assault rifle. Looks really nice. The paintwork's nice. The scope looks great. Now, the muzzle doesn't have a muzzle hole in there. This is actually the one you would use the muzzle flash that goes over the barrel. And it just looks really good. And we got a removable magazine, and we got 2 additional magazines beyond the one that comes equipped. An up-close look at Eclipse, and her head sculpt is phenomenal. Sculpt work on Series 3 figures, again, with the head sculpts are awesome. Hair sculpted really nicely. Got the ear sculpted. But it's just overall a really nice head sculpt. But we even get a little bit of a hair clip that's painted blue with the braid, keeping that braid out of her face. Then we get into the new female buck and the new armor. It's got the weathering on it, so she's definitely been in combat, looking awesome. The strappage looks good. We got the 2 magazine holders on the front. Got the gloves with those impact knuckles so she can be beating somebody down. Got the belt with the knife sheath on it. And I really love the back of this armor. We got the leg holster, a couple magazines there. Those are sculpted in. Pistol holder right there. Texture throughout the pants looks pretty good. Even got this texture on the inside, I guess keep from chafing and rubbing your thighs together. I don't know, but that's pretty cool. Got the boots. Straps have texture on them. Got some armor there, weathering on the knee pads and the shin guards. Pretty awesome looking figure. Now, one thing that is odd is all of them have these butts. The butts are pretty flat. So we don't get any roundness of the butt. They're just sort of flat butts. And, but I mean, I guess they're missing some of their squats. Their glutes didn't get much of the build. But either way, the figure looks awesome. That's the butt thing is not a big deal at all. But it is just a solid figure. Diving into articulation, I'm going to go over some areas that you need to heat up because these Series 3 figures you definitely need to heat up. So the head itself can articulate down like so, can look up, full 360, attitude in there as well. Now when the vest is on and you put that alternate head on, that part that overlaps the vest is not really pliable, so when you move her head left and right, the alternate head does rub on the shoulders of the vests. I had a little bit of paint transfer. Nothing too crazy, but just something I want to bring to your guys' attention. You definitely want to heat up these shoulders. These are almost on a ratchet because they have multiple clicks. So you have a click that clicks there and then clicks up. So you get a full T-pose, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that work really well. Pinless. We get the wrist rotation, vertical hinge. When it comes to the hands, looking nice. And then speaking of the hands, they actually, and the arms, you can actually click them in to where this figure doesn't have butterfly joints, but look how well the arms get in there. You know, you can bend them up, get them all crossed up. You know, really, really well done for not having butterfly joints. I was quite impressed. Then underneath this, the armor and everything, we do have this articulation that we're used to. You know, can do this. Not much. Well, there is. This belt, floating belt wants to just sort of flop around now. But you can get her to lean back quite a bit. Can lean forward a little bit. Not as much as she can lean back with that. But, you know, full move around up there. The hula hoop waist. You know, she can move, do the hula. Drop down hips. Can do the full Van Damme, thigh cut, and after some heat, double jointed knees. Now the knees, I'm going to point out there are some things that I was trying to do, but we'll get into that in a second. But definitely heating up the knees are a must. We got boot cut, heat here in the front part, so then you can get your ankle bend to move, and you got the pivot. So all the articulation you'd really want in these figures. Now, what I was wanting to point out, I was putting her up for when I was doing the hand sort of shots. I was going to have her on her knee. So the lower part only bends that far. So we don't get a straight 90 with that one. So if she's on her knee, you know, you got to get it sort of like this. And then if she's going to go up, you would want to do it all with this one front part. But as you can see, it's not really level. So even if you bent it a little bit further, but you can see is she can't really sit on her knee. Like that's the only thing is like these lower parts of legs need to become, you know, more of a 90-degree angle. All right. Yes, I was pointing out the knees, and I did finagle. I was playing around with the drop down part. So if you drop down the hip a little bit on this side, it'll support right here. Not really the knees, not fully touching at all. It's all this part right here that's supporting it. But you can get in some kneeled positions for shooting and stuff like that. It just was, I don't recall ever having to deal with the drop down for it before, but you know, you can get her posed up, but then you got to play the balance game. You got to find that right sweet spot. But I mean, besides that, it's a awesome figure. Eclipse is such a badass figure, so I decided to have her slice into Garrison Calvary's throat, and it just looks badass. For my first figure from Series 3 to review, this figure is pretty awesome. I'm not a fan of the Series 3 packaging. Again, you have to cut out all these little plastic ties, basically, that's holding the figure in there, and then there's tape covering everything. I do like the older style packaging better. And, you know, her, when she kneels down, is a little bit... The female characters, when they're kneeling, is a little bit different than the other figures we got. It doesn't really sit as nicely, but you could still make it work. But I would say that definitely be cautious of these figures of heating. You want to make sure you heat them up. Like the whole lower area, you want to start heating up those ankles. You want to heat those knees. You want to heat the shoulders, and the one that you want to focus onto with her is the alternate head inside where the peg goes in. It was giving me trouble, so I had to heat up the inside of the head. And then the wrist. The wrist, you want to heat them up, pop the hands out, pop them back in, pop them back out, pop them back in, you know, add a little bit of heat inside the wrist, and do that for a while. And then even after I did that, I came back to start reviewing it. went to go change out the hands, it was stuck, so I had to heat it up a second time. So heating up the figure is definitely something you want to do, or else you're going to end up breaking it. I could definitely see you breaking a wrist or something like that if you do not heat up the wrist. But besides those little gripes, I mean, the figure's badass. It's a beautifully done figure. The details, the head sculpts, Series 3 is definitely awesome. It is the best head sculpts in the Action Force figure line. I mean, I can say nothing but praises. So it's like, yeah, I'd heat up my figure and I don't care for the packaging. And the kneeling is a little weird, but it's not going to make me not want the figure. The figures are freaking fantastic. And that sums up my unboxing and review of Action Force Series 3 Eclipse. If you guys are enjoying my content, hit that like button. New to my channel, hit that subscribe button, as it helps the channel evolve and grow. And make sure you guys go check out Action Force figures at Valaverse.com. All the Valaverse information and all that stuff is going to be down below, so go check it out. Pick up some of these figures. Let me know what you guys think if you've been picking these figures up. And I want you guys to have the best luck hunting. Keep on collecting and have a beautiful day.